going on? Welcome into the Sunbelt Syndicate. A very cool show for you tonight as we play host to the Georgia Southern Eagles, who brought a whole flock with them. Come on, I had to go with the bird analogy there. But welcome to the show, guys. I know we got Coach's name up on the screen, so I guess we should probably just throw it up. But why don't you guys introduce yourselves real quick, and I'll put it up on screen as well who each one of you are.
I'm Jonathan Jaime, junior outfielder.
I'm Daniel Haab. I'm a catcher and an outfielder, and I'm a senior.
My name's Luke Odden. I'm a senior, and I'm a middle infielder.
If Coach was telling me correctly, you guys stayed a little after today to get a little extra hitting practice in?
We did. It was good. Just trying to get some more work, getting ready for Friday.
Yeah.
Nice.
Never take too many swings.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Seth likes to take too many swings. He's swinging at trees and birds, whatever you're at there when you're playing ball, right, Seth?
Dude, you're 0 for 2 for jokes already, buddy.
Come on, it's Sunbelt After Dark here, man. We gotta open it up a little bit, man. But
funny story about that, though, not to cut in, but we got one of our guys, one of our hitters. His name's Sean Smith. He's been known to sneak out, and you can ask some of these guys. He'll get out there and he actually takes an axe to some of the trees that are just outside of our facility. So it's kind of a running joke amongst our guys right now.
That's awesome, man. That is awesome. Coach, we need you to introduce yourself too. I actually got something up for the whole coaching staff, but go ahead and tell the people who you are.
Nice. Yeah, I'm Cody Wofford. I'm our hitting coach here, and I also work with our infielders going into my third season here with Coach Hennon.
And this is your second stint actually with Georgia Southern at this point. Is that correct?
It is. I was the volley in 2019 and then through COVID in that half year, and then came back in the fall of 2020. And then that spring I was at Eastern Kentucky.
Very nice.
I feel like there's a couple coaches are at either Eastern or Western Kentucky. That seems to be a kind of common theme among some of the Sunbelt coaches, which is kind of interesting. It's
right.
How that worked out.
I coached at Eastern, but played at Western, so I got some grief for that when I was at Eastern for sure.
Do those two schools play each other much, or is there not much of a?
When I was there, we never played, so I didn't know much about EKU from that. But when I coached at Eastern, we played midweeks, so it's nice getting back there.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of those state schools always play each other, but that's not a rivalry or something I really hear much about. So it's just kind of interesting. Are they really far apart or something? Is that maybe why? It's not like an hour apart or something?
No, I to be honest, I don't know why. I think there's just so many schools in that area because we can dive into Nashville, which is 45 minutes away when I was at Western Kentucky. And so Eastern's more like 2.5. So the drive, I think the commute probably just made a little more sense.
Eastern does have a Buc-ee's. I will go ahead and put that out there.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. Love some Buc-ee's.
You guys have a Buc-ee's down there near Statesboro yet?
No. Whenever we go up north, there's one in Florence that we go to, so it's always fun when we're going that direction.
Nice. We'll get back to the baseball talk a little bit here. You guys went 33-26 overall last season, conference record of 17-13, and an impressive RPI there at 56. Obviously, we know how you guys feel. You want to be better than that and all that stuff. But there's nothing to shy away from the outsider's point of view there. What are your expectations going into this season, where you'd like to end up either personally or as a team or both? Coach, let's start there with you and what you think for this year.
Yeah, I think we mentioned Omaha, obviously. We want to win a national championship. That's what we're playing for. And also a Sunbelt Conference championship. Those two things are talked about. But I think bigger, we talk about winning each day and trying to be relentless in that day, being where our feet are and taking it one day at a time, trying to go 1-0 every single game. So obviously we want to get there, but it's about, being in that moment and kind of slowing it down a little bit.
Luke?
I think after last season, something that everyone's kind of talked about, how important it is to be able to go into the tournament at the end of the year, knowing you have a bid and not fighting for it when you go into the tournament. So we knew what we had to do last year, and we came up short right at the end. But I think this year a big focus for everybody is locking up that spot before we get into the tournament so we can go in and still compete for a championship, but know that the season is not dependent upon how we do in that tournament.
Daniel?
Yeah, I think a big thing that we need to change from last year in terms of the overall record was starting off. I mean, last year we started off pretty slow. Granted, we had a lot of really tough opponents there early, so it was tough. But our offense struggled a little bit out of the gate, and then once we finally put it all together, we were really dangerous toward the end of the year. But I think the emphasis this year is getting that dangerous offense going, get them going early.
Jonathan?
Kind of touching off what all three said, I think it's important that we win each day, and Daniel emphasized that we got to start out successfully. We struggled off the start last year, which kind of put us behind the 8 ball for a little while, but we finished well. And again, touching off what Luke said, putting ourselves in position to be a lock for the NCAA tournament before we get to Montgomery to play for the sunbelt tournament, and still trying to win that's important, but we got to be ready to go all year.
Absolutely. Quick question for you guys. 56 RPI, you make it to the conference championship game, and you guys kind of alluded to, we want to have a spot before we have to get there and not have, the tournament determine where we are. Did you guys think you had done enough making it to the championship game? Was there a huge letdown not getting that invite to a regional?
I think it was definitely kind of a letdown. I think everyone knew the reality of the situation, but there was still hope. And I know we had a team meeting after the show, and that was pretty heartbreaking. But I don't think anybody was oblivious to what the situation looked like. So.
And I think we all felt like we were playing our best baseball at that point in time. So, we obviously would have loved to have the opportunity, but we were in a great place from a competitive standpoint. I think, we hopes were up, and it was tough, but we like they talked about earlier, we kind of did it to ourselves early on in the season, probably 2 wins away. Maryland had a good season. Mississippi State could have got a game there. Played College of Charleston twice, played them 3 times actually, and lost twice. So maybe getting one more there, probably 2-3 games away in the grand scheme of it all.
Yeah, no, I agree. Does that fuel the fire for this year, knowing just how close you were last year?
No doubt. It was
Definitely.
tough.
100%.
What are some games coming up this year, talking about RPI-wise, that might help you at the end of the year? Outside the conference, what's those midweeks? What games would help boost the RPI going in to conference play?
Yeah, I think USF is one that jumps off the page. Just a good baseball program, new coaching staff coming from a really good school. Western Carolina, not that you can, just mosey on past them, but I think USF for sure. Campbell's really good in their conference. I don't think that can hurt. But then midweek wise, we got a home and home with Georgia Tech. We got Clemson in a neutral site. And then we go to Gainesville and play the Gators down there too. So those are some big midweeks. And then also College of Charleston too. Get to play those guys again.
Are you guys travel to Bowies Creek to play Campbell, correct?
We do. Yes, sir.
Yeah. That's they're a good ball team. There's not it's a hard place to play. It's actually 45 minutes from my house. I might try to get out there and watch you guys.
Absolutely.
Was it Campbell that lost their entire team last year? It was, wasn't it?
Yeah, they lost a good bit, but they also had a bunch of players back too. The Grant Nip was one that comes to mind. I think he was as impactful to a team as anybody had across the country, and he.
But I thought it was the coach. The coach left, and the entire team. Is that what happened?
He was there last year. He just took the Ohio State job this offseason.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
So he won't be there when we go to them, but I think they lost a good bit of those players in that transit.
Gotcha.
That makes sense. I was going to go off something with the Campbell thing. Well, I am going to try and do the same thing Marv did, at least get down there to see one of those. That's probably a little further from me than it is from Marv, but not terribly far. So it'd be nice to come up or come down, I guess, and see you guys there in that one. Oh, I know what I was going to ask here. So you guys got 9 in a row at home to start. Obviously, that's a little bit beneficial. But you also get to play Georgia Tech, Kennesaw State, obviously Georgia State, and Mercer. So is there an untalked about, or is there maybe a talked about like a state championship that you guys are playing for after all these state schools that you guys get to go head to head with? Or with you guys, younger guys that are actually playing the game, you guys get guys on those other teams that you know pretty well, and looking forward to playing them across the field from you.
Yeah, I think Coach Hennon emphasizes it a lot. It's one of our goals actually is win the state every year. I mean, we play a lot of competitive games against them, and a lot of us played with tons of guys at most all those schools. Maybe not Luke, but me and Daniel. So it's important for us to win those, obviously for our RPI and overall record, but a little bit just for bragging rights, honestly.
Yeah. Definitely some pride involved with it. I came from Kennesaw before going to a junior college, so I always like facing them. It's pretty fun. And like Jamie said, win the state of Georgia. We want to prove that we're the best team in the state every year. So it's fun getting an opportunity to do that.
Absolutely.
Coach, talking about the Sun Belt in general, how do you think the conference stacks up to other conferences around the nation?
It's hard because it's an extremely deep conference. Every weekend is a gauntlet. There's no weekend where you're taking anything off. I've never coached or played in the SEC or ACC, and I know those are extremely challenging too. But top to bottom in the Sun Belt, man, there's a lot of great competition, and man, you can't let up. You can't let up or you'll get beat. And so it's fun. It makes it, you got to be locked in. Your mind's got to be in the right place, and these guys got to get after it. But it's an extremely, extremely deep conference.
We like to throw around a stats. There was only 3 conferences last year that every team that made the conference tournament had an RPI of inside 100, and the Sun Belt was one of those 3 conferences. So it just kind of speaks to the quality. Luke, Daniel, and Jonathan, just talk about the quality of arms that you have to see every day when you step into the batter's box, and just the quality of defense that you see out there when you put a ball in play in the Sun Belt Conference.
It's like Coach just said, there's not a weekend where you walk into a part and you can kind of mosey on through things. You got to have the switch turned on every game, and that makes it a lot of fun for us because playing high-level baseball is what you're here to do. That's why you come to Georgia Southern and the Sun Belt in general. So I think that none of us would want it any other way, and it's a lot of fun when you walk into the higher RPI games that might matter a little more on the RPI. It's kind of just like you don't have to try to tap into another gear. You're already in that mode. So
yeah, I mean, I think Luke said it perfectly. Hey, you're here to compete, and every weekend competing like we compete. I mean, it's a blast.
What's it like on the road with the guys?
It's probably my favorite part of the season. Traveling with the guys is super fun. We go a lot of cool places in the conference, so it's good to see a lot of different schools and what they have, and honestly builds the relationships that help us prevail at the end. Whether we do or not, those are relationships that we'll have for a long time. And as important as winning, those relationships are just as important for the rest of our lives because baseball does end at some point.
Yeah. You can learn a lot about your teammates on those 6, 7, 8 hour bus rides. So, I mean, keeping each other entertained and, hanging out at the hotels and stuff pregame and doing all that stuff, playing cards, playing Mafia on the bus, like all that stuff is a blast, So, I mean, those are all memories that we all cherish for sure. And I'm looking forward to a whole other season of it this year.
We just got introduced to the Mafia game on a previous episode. We're the old guys here now, so we had no idea what this was. But this sounds intriguing. I got to we've had it explained, but I feel like I need to see this to really feel it and understand it better. Is that like the go-to game for you guys?
I saw Coach shake his head the second Mafia was mentioned.
100%.
We're sitting at the front of the bus, and you hear picking the medic, and then picking the Mafia. Heads up, heads down. Those dudes, as soon as we get on the bus, they're playing it.
This is the best narrator in the country right here. Daniel Haab.
You guys talked about traveling, the unique places, the bond that you get on the road. What is your favorite away venue inside a conference that you like playing at, whether it's because of the facilities, the travel, the atmosphere? Just where's a place that you guys enjoy playing outside of Statesboro?
I think John could probably speak on this more than I can. Last year was my first season here, but in conference, to be honest with you, I didn't really have a favorite one. I like Mississippi State, and they were out of conference, but I like Mississippi State and Georgia Southern. There you go. Those are 2 places I enjoyed playing at.
Still a good answer.
Yeah,
I like.
Have you played at Louisiana?
None of these guys have got to experience that. We go there this year, but these guys haven't experienced that yet.
Boone was pretty cool.
Okay. Boone was?
Is that because you won?
What did you do?
They've done some pretty awesome things to the park. You know, the chairs around, and then it looked like they had like a little bar set up along the right field line. But they've done some stuff to it for sure.
Well, not
Jamie might have just hit the walk-off home run to win the series. Maybe that's why he enjoyed that one there.
I did enjoy Boone a lot. My favorite, though, is definitely Hattiesburg. We went there my freshman year. Kind of just started like a little rivalry that we actually cleared benches there my freshman year, which was pretty fun, honestly. We all actually had to serve a game suspension for it. But, especially Hattiesburg was awesome. It kind of led into the fire last year with Southern Miss, playing them here and then playing them in the championship. So the environment in Hattiesburg was pretty awesome.
Yeah, we've heard that. The Pete's a great place. Not trying to spoiler alert anything with you guys, but we hear that Louisiana is phenomenal, and we hear that they feed you very well after the game. So after that series, I'm going to have to get you guys back on and see if it lives up to the expectations.
No doubt.
Yeah. I also like that. Maybe it's too obvious, but the Golden Eagles versus the Eagles, like that's a rivalry I can get behind easily because it just makes sense, right? And I know Daniel's out there ready to throw bows because if I read it correctly, you were a former hockey player as well. Is that right?
Yeah, I did. I did play hockey back in started playing hockey back in 4th grade, 5th grade, and I played all the way up until my sophomore year of high school. So nice. I actually played hockey with our equipment manager here growing up. So
nice. Cool. That's a nice little nugget. When I read that, I put the question out to the guys or the little breakdown earlier, and I was like, hey, that's my question. I'm the hockey guy. I get to ask that. So, I thought that was cool. That's my sport growing up was hockey. So I thought that was a cool tidbit. And it does make sense. I mean, we got like the Hurricanes down the street here in Carolina, and they always come over to the minor league ballpark. So it feels like the hockey baseball relationship between players or growing up playing kind of both sports in certain areas of the country just seems to make sense for some reason. I guess it's the hand-eye maybe. Is that kind of go hand in hand for you?
I think so. I started off playing as a goalie just because I was a catcher.
I was going to ask that.
But then they realized I was fast, so they put me at center, and then I started scoring all the goals. So it kind of just went from there, and then ended up playing travel hockey and, playing for our high school team. And I knew my last game, I knew it was going to be over after that, so I made it a goal to get in a fight. So I actually got suspended my last game. So
was that no helmets, gloves, or was it helmet glove fight?
Oh no, we had the cages on our helmets still. Yeah. So you just kept the gloves on, or else you're going to break your hand hitting somebody. So
yeah, I got to play high school hockey one year. Quick story. As a senior, the year before I got to play, there was two guys, one from State College or Penn State area, and our high school played each other, and it was a brawl fest apparently. Well, our biggest guy, who was like 6'5", 220 pounds or whatever, and another guy that were similar in size, decided to go no mask, no gloves, and the referees stayed out of the way. They knew they were going to get it worse if they tried to break that up, so they waited till they went down. But yeah, cages and helmets are a must in high school hockey and even in college level. But yeah, I definitely thought that was a cool little tidbit there. And we'll get back to the baseball. Seth always rolls his eyes when I got the hockey stuff going. So. Seth, you got a question you want to roll with here?
Yeah. So let's say we don't know anything about Georgia Southern baseball, and we don't watch any games, and we're just checking the stat sheet in the end of the night. What names are popping off the sheet right here? Who's the dudes that we're looking for this year?
Sean Smith. He
Sean
raced.
Smith.
Yeah. The dude hits a ball farther than anybody I've ever seen, and fastest hands, and plays a good left field and can run. I mean, you got him, and then we got Nico Sinise, transfer from Georgia Tech this year. He's going to be crucial for us playing infield.
You can't forget Josh Tate. I mean, our leadoff guy last year came from Georgia, was pivotal to our offense. I mean, was the catalyst of our offense for the entire year. So got to look out for him. We got a great group of guys, though. You got to look out for Luke Odden, too.
Yeah, all these guys are great ball players. I think on the pitching staff, some guys that you don't see here. Cade Grundy, transferred from Louisville. He'll go Friday for us. Excited about him being here. Jacob Phillips was a guy that'll go on Saturday, but he was with us last year. He had more of like a bullpen role for us last year, but getting the start on Saturday. And then Sunday, we got a freshman going, Thomas Burke. I think we're all excited about him. It's a tough at bat, especially for lefties. Just a taller kid, about 6'5", 6'6", and around the low 90s mark. But we're excited to see what he does and get his foot wet a little bit. So
we also got a guy out of the bullpen named Joey White. So keep a lookout for him. He's going to be crucial for us this year.
Yeah, he's one of our team captains.
Coach, that kind of leads into a question, and then I'll follow it up with all the guys. You talked about a lot of transfers and the environment that we're living in and, NCAA athletics now. How does the transfer portal change your approach to recruiting? And what I mean by that is obviously you're looking for a guy that fills a need. You're looking for a guy that's a good fit for your program. But if you look at a high school kid and you think, hey, it might take a year or two for this guy to develop and really be ready for the reps, knowing that you can jump into the portal or go to JUCO and get a guy that's played college baseball before, how does that change your approach to bringing guys into the program?
Yeah, I think, and Coach Hennon would say it, he's been here for 26 years, and getting to pick his brain on a lot of things. He believes in the high school class. You always got to have that high school foundation. But I think we've learned having experience definitely does help. So helping, by adding some older players that make sense is huge. And like you're saying, I think it's need by need basis. Depends on what you have in the locker room at that point in time. And we're really big on culture. It's got to be the right fit on both sides of the thing for us, for it to make sense. And so, yeah, there's years where, like next year, and for instance, for us, we'll have a larger high school class coming in, and a lot of these guys are leaving. So if we have, one or two spots left to add a position guy, it would make more sense to go the JUCO route or transfer portal route, just to have some experience around those younger guys and help kind of mold them to what college baseball looks like.
Yeah, very
Real
cool.
fast, Marv, going off what you just said, what's the percentage every year of high school players? Is it just vary every year?
It does vary every year. This year, we knew we had an older class that was already on campus. So for us, there's only one high school position player that's on our roster right now, Jack Myers, and he's done a great job. But we knew going in that it didn't make sense to bring a ton in at that point in time because we had so many older guys, and it would be kind of a logjam. Although you would like for them to get that learning experience and be around, you want them to get on the field too at times, and that's extremely, extremely valuable time, for them to grow. And it just didn't make sense having all these older guys to bring in a large group of younger guys. So, but that turnover is about to happen. Obviously, these guys are moving on. So next year we'll have a good bit of high schoolers.
Gotcha. And guys, if you wouldn't mind, just talk about your journey. What got you to Georgia Southern?
Mine's a little different than them. I committed here when I was a junior in high school, so this is all I really know about college baseball. I mean, it's been a pleasure to play here, and next year will be my last year, so it'll be interesting to see the turnover because most of the guys that are still here I've played with my entire career, so just trying to emulate what these guys have taught me and everyone else prior, just take it into next year and finish my career. But, yeah, it's just been Georgia Southern for me.
So I started off at Kennesaw. Like I said, I was there my whole freshman year, redshirted, and then going into my sophomore year, there was new coaching staff came in, so I ended up getting cut. And so I spent 3 semesters at Kennesaw and then 3 semesters at Gordon State Community College. Ended up, grinding out some baseball down there, and where Georgia Southern ended up recruiting me, and I've been here for the last 2 years. So it was a long journey, but I found home eventually. So
very cool.
I went to junior college straight out of high school. So I went to Wabash Valley Junior College. I was there for my freshman, my sophomore year, and my sophomore year is when I got recruited to Georgia Southern.
Okay.
And I was here last year, and then this will be my last year here. So it's been a fun journey, and just like Danny said, I think definitely found my home in the end. So,
and how did you end up on the eastern part of the United States from Scottsdale, Arizona?
Yeah, well, the recruiting process for me was really kind of interesting with COVID happening. So coming out of high school, my opportunities were limited. The only opportunity I had for junior college was in Mount Carmel, Illinois. And that's where I went to go to Wabash and then ended up here. The running joke, I've got a girlfriend, and the running joke in her family is that each time I've chosen a school, it's been farther and farther away from her. So they're kind of wondering if I'm sending a message.
Hey, did you know roughly where Georgia Southern was? I mean, was this kind of eye-opening, or were you kind of at least aware of the school beforehand?
In high school, I had not heard of it. I think a lot of guys on the West haven't heard of it. But when I went to Wabash and I kind of got a broader scope of the college baseball landscape, I definitely knew about Georgia Southern. And my freshman year, I think, is when they hosted the regional, I think. And I definitely, after that, definitely knew about them. So I had definitely known about Georgia Southern. And then once Woff reached out, it was a pretty cool feeling to see that text come through.
Nice. Coach, did you specifically recruit all three of these guys?
I did not. That's also kind of a funny story. So Coach Beck is the head coach of Western Carolina now. He was the hitting coach here when I was a volley. He was actually the one that recruited Jonathan here. So he brought him in. And Haab was kind of on – I had just gotten to Georgia Southern and kind of understanding the bearings there. So Coach Batisto, he's our recruiting coordinator, but he headed it up in that meantime of me just getting to campus and trying to figure all that stuff out. And he was a big part in recruiting Haab. And then Haab actually came to his junior college, played on our field. We had a little, I guess, camp, like round robin type tournament. And he really performed when he came down. I think a lot of things happened right after that. And then I did recruit Luke. I got to see him out. It was Springfield, Illinois, I believe, in a junior college tournament. They had a little round robin going. I got to see him play out there, and just kind of made it work from there.
Very cool. I like how you brought three guys with you, with a little bit different story for each of them. We definitely appreciate the fact that this is what it's for, right? I mean, people, we've said it the whole week. They're not coming to watch us. They're coming to watch you guys and learn more about you. And we're happy to be able to do this for that reason. But it's also really, we were saying in between shows here, it's really cool for us. Like, we want to learn all of this too. So we do definitely have interest in that.
We're learning more about this whole JUCO thing. Is that like a big part of this ending up at a D1 school? Is that a lot of the route? We're not seeing D2 transfers, are we? Is it mostly incoming JUCO players is what we're getting?
Yeah, the thing about that, at least on the recruiting side, which is strange, the portal is fresh on the scene. But for us, we're not going to go sit at a Division II baseball game and watch their team play. That just hasn't been done before, you know. And so more of that is you know, they hop in the portal and you don't know as much about them. These guys, we can go watch them play, talk to their coach, talk to them. It's kind of an open book, and you get to know them a little better throughout the process. I think when you get into the portal, you don't get to experience that. So yeah, I think junior college in that transfer process, it happens more often going to Division I, just because you can have those relationships and get to know them a little bit.
We've also heard that the best recruiters, no offense, Coach, but the best recruiters are guys already on the team. You know, when they're saying to their buddies who are at JUCOs or whatnot, hey man, this coaching staff is one I like. I want to play for these guys. And hey, guess what? Our facilities are pretty nice too. Like, are you guys kind of doing that without trying to do it? Obviously, like you're not telling people to do it, but is it just kind of naturally happen? And these guys are saying, I'm having a good time here. You should come here. Well,
I think you could ask Luke. I mean, I've talked to him about players on his team a good bit, and just having that understanding and knowing who Luke is and who he is as a person and getting to see it firsthand. Anything he has to say, I mean, I'm on it because I believe in that kid. He's the right type of kid, and the same for all three of these guys. If I hear one of these three guys tell me about a player, I'm invested already. That means more than, you know, a lot of other people saying something. yeah, and I've talked to Luke about players on his team and, what they're like. And then I think, if I have interest, if I see it lines up with a fit for us as far as, position player need or need on the mound, I'll ask him to maybe reach out and he'll get some feedback and just have like a conversation that way. But yeah, 100%. I agree. I think these guys help on the recruiting side a ton. So it's nice to have their input and their relationships. But like I said, a lot of it stems from knowing them and trusting them because they're the right type of people. You're going to miss at times on talent, but we can't miss on the type of person to fill that locker room. It's extremely valuable, and it's a big deal to us in the way we compete. And I think everybody's been a part of a program that has somebody that can bring a team down. It just takes one, and trying to avoid that is huge for us.
One thing that we've been asking, and it's going to be different for you guys because you guys are a lot closer this time, but Savannah Bananas baseball has exploded, and Banana Ball has its own league, and it's fun, it's different. Have you guys seen it? Because again, your proximity leads me to believe at least one of you has at least seen this in person. If you have, what'd you think? Also, are you more of the baseball purist, or do you love this stuff and maybe want to participate outside of college ball when it's over?
I'm against it. I have no interest in it. I've never seen it. I don't plan on seeing it.
I mean, I'm a little bit in the middle. I think it's fantastic because you look and it's this team that's just going around playing the same team over and over again. They're playing the party animals and they're selling out these MLB stadiums. And if that's growing the game of baseball, then fantastic. Because I mean, the more kids that get into baseball, the more kids that get to experience the kind of lifestyle that we live. That's all we really want. But would I ever play for them? No, I can't dance. And yeah, I don't think I can do all the gimmicks and stuff and still try to hit. Hitting's hard enough already, and then you make the ball yellow, and you got the pitcher doing backflips and throwing it. But so yeah, I'm out on playing in it, but I'll watch it.
Yeah, I've never seen it, but I agree with Danny. Whatever grows the game, I think is good for it. I wish one of our teammates was in here named Landry Mead. He
played for him. He's
actually the poster child for one of their rules about no bunting. And he bunted in one of those games and got ejected.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know that.
That's one I don't know. Is that an actual rule? You cannot bunt in Banana Ball?
That's a rule. Yeah, I think he was his freshman year when they were still a summer league team. He was playing for him, and he bunted when there was a run on second, just being – that's the kind of guy he is, summer ball bunting to get the guy over, and he got ejected for it. So
that's tough.
That's hilarious.
I enjoy it. I think it's great, creating an atmosphere and people go and they sell out. They're selling out big league stadiums, which is awesome. And we actually have a former player, Jason Swan, who's on the Party Animals. So I got to watch a video of him pimping a home run off Roger Clemens in a game, which is pretty crazy to see. So I'm all for it.
I think one thing that we can't debate is those dudes are athletes. You're net on the head. Like hitting a slider is hard, right? But doing it with the guys on stilts and then making a backflip catch on a fly ball in the outfield, like those guys have talent.
100%.
Yeah. What I want to do is go to the after party because I feel like those are the guys you want to do that with, right? Like that's the atmosphere you want to participate in. I don't know what goes on, but I can only imagine if what is happening on the field goes that similar direction afterward, you're going to have a good time and a fun night. But just to be clear, so as close as you guys are to Savannah, none of you have seen this in person at all?
Nope, no, sir.
Interesting. Okay, I thought with the numbers game we'd have at least one of you who's seen it in person. So that's interesting.
I have a
and Jonathan.
story, talking about the after party with the Bananas. One of my good buddies is their center fielder. I went to his wedding in December, and most of them were there. So, yeah, they're crazy. Honestly. I don't know how else to put it. They had a good time. They were doing all their dances and stuff at the wedding. So, I'm against it, but it was pretty funny to see, honestly.
That is. I will tell you, Jonathan, you are the first person who said you're just against it. I got to be honest with you. But I knew we'd have somebody.
There's one in every crowd.
I actually thought it might be one of the coaches who was kind of against it, like more of a purist and everything. I didn't expect any of the players, but that's interesting. This is why we ask, man. We always get different answers, so we got to throw those out there. Seth, Marv, you got any more questions for these guys?
Yeah, one last question. Been asking everybody 48 hours till first pitch, man. How ready are you guys to just get out there and get after it?
Man, this is what we've been waiting on since last year and losing to Southern Miss. We want our shot again, So I think with everything we mentioned earlier about like the emphasis of this year, like starting out of the gate and all that, man, we can't wait. We've had some of the most competitive inter squads you've ever seen. Just guys ready to just let it eat and put everything out on the field. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Like Daniel said, there's a lot of fuel to the fire, how last year ended, and I'm super excited. I think we have tons of hitters that can get the job done. We can depend on everybody that we have, which is a great feeling as a player. And I'm sure as a coach, for Coach Woff, that's an even better feeling. And I'm just super excited.
Yeah, I think one thing everyone's been talking about, we've been playing the same guys in the other dugout for the past half year. And I think everybody's just ready to see some purple jerseys in the other dugout and get to go at it.
Very nice. Coach, you ready as well?
Oh, yeah. Ready to see these guys. They put a lot of hard work in, ready to see them just let loose, let it eat. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Is anybody going to sleep before Friday night, or are you just so ready to go that you're just going to keep yourself up?
I know I won't.
Oh, man. Well, best of luck to you guys. We really appreciate your time and effort. We know it was a late night here, but we will be looking forward to checking you guys out along the way, and certainly this opening weekend in baseball action across the country, quite frankly. So it's an exciting time for everyone to tune in and check you guys out. So we will be checking in with you again along the way. If you got any big game upsets that we're looking at here against some of these teams you're playing, we're going to be trying to reach back out and get you on.
Awesome.
Heck yeah. Thank you, guys.
Hey, good luck, guys.
Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Southern.